Alicante and Torrevieja are two cities that might look similar when you look them up online, but are very different in reality. You want to move to Alicante, someone tells you, why so? Better go to Torrevieja. At least it happened to me. After living in both of these cities, I can see the difference very clearly. And to this day, I'm getting questions about which city is better to move to and does it even matter. In this video, I want to make a point that it does matter and to help you choose a city that suits you best. For both of these cities, I will cover cost of living, lifestyle and atmosphere, nature and outdoors, transport system, housing situation, social life and things to do, climate, and who which city is good for. I have a lot to say, so there will be two parts, one that you are seeing now and the second one coming out next week. Friendly warning, you can only make up your own mind when you see the whole picture, and every point I will make here is equally important. I really encourage you to watch this video till the end so you don't miss out on information that is critical for you and don't make rushed choices like I once did. I will start with Torrevieja because this is where I lived first, so it makes more sense chronologically. To begin with, I didn't want to live in Torrevieja. To be fair, I didn't want to live in Alicante as well. Both cities seemed quite boring to me. And with Torrevieja, I had a personal issue that I heard that many Russian people live in this town, and I'm Ukrainian, so I would have a problem with this. But life happens, and after 1 week of living in Spain, I lost my job and I had no consistent income. That is why my budget for the first accommodation was very limited. When my temporary rental was about to expire, I decided that I don't really care which city I'm in, I just need to find a place to live. And as every rational adult, which I'm normally not unless the situation is critical, I made a cost-effective decision and moved to Torrevieja. Which brings us to the first point, cost of living. Torrevieja is famous for being a cheap place to live in Spain. While it is still a coastal town, close to bigger cities and with enough stuff to do, as they say. Renting in Torrevieja really is cheaper than in many places in Spain. It's 3-4 times cheaper than in Barcelona, twice cheaper than in Valencia, and even compared to Alicante, which is not considered a big city, renting in Torrevieja is 25 to 40% cheaper. For my rented apartment in Torrevieja, I was paying €600 a month, plus utilities that were different every time, but resulted at about €60 per month. Prices for groceries are the same across the whole country, so there's no point to compare them. Other than that, I was barely spending anything because I didn't have a job, and living out of savings, I really minimized what I spent. Apart from places that I've been to eating out or going for drinks, I can tell that it really is a cheap place. Obviously, you can find expensive places if you really want to, but from my experience, they're not always worth it, and most places really are cheap. Sometimes €20 is enough for a dinner for two. Also important to mention that there's not even many places to go. So unless you set a goal to spend as much money as you can, you will not be tempted by a variety of all the places you want to try. I also want to make it clear that when I say Torrevieja is cheap, I compare it to other European countries and other cities in Spain. I don't compare it to my home country. Compared to Ukraine, Torrevieja is still way more expensive, so it's not like I was looking for a better life by the sea and trying to raise rent prices for locals. That is to prevent some hate comments. I didn't move to Torrevieja for the better life. I moved because there's war in my country and it's not safe to stay there. Torrevieja can be very quiet. The city is mostly just beach and residential areas. There's a sea bank with bars and restaurants. There's a city center with coffee shops and bars. There's a main square that gets really loud during holidays and celebrations. This is when all the roads get closed. Everyone is outside, everyone is drinking and having fun. There's also many tourists in certain stages. Obviously in the summer, but also Christmas time was a shocker to me. The place was absolutely packed. And there are some tourists throughout the whole year. And I know that because neighboring to me apartments were for daily rentals, so I could hear people arriving and leaving all the time. Torrevieja is a narrow town in a beautiful location between the sea on one side and two lakes on the other. One of these lakes is pink, and if you are lucky enough, like I fortunately am, You can live with a view to the Pink Lake. The city also has a long seaside and many beaches. There's many small beaches and also the main big one, which is often the cleanest. To be honest, Torrevieja does not give off the impression of the cleanest town, but the seaside area is mostly okay. There's enough space to have long walks there, and again, a nice view to the lakes possible. Sunsets and sunrises were honestly my favorite part about living there, because when it's so close and so beautiful, it's just out of space experience. Another detail that I want to mention is that because of this beautiful location of the town, earthquakes are possible and frequent. Most of the time you don't even feel them. They are not strong enough, but they are close enough. I found out about this when one night an earthquake rolled me around in my bed from side to side, and I was very confused. Shortly after, I also found out that the earthquakes are a reason for a very specific houses placement in town. They're all very close together with narrow parallel streets, and they're also all of the same height with no high-rise buildings. In 1829, there was an earthquake that destroyed the city completely, so when Torrevieja was rebuilt, it was already optimized for if such disaster happens again. Torrevieja is a town a bit isolated from everywhere. There's no train station, there's no airport, there's only one small bus station. If you need to travel anywhere out of the city, it would be great to have a car. If that's not an option, the only way to get around is a bus to Alicante or to some other big city nearby. I was always going to Alicante and traveling from there, because in my experience it was always the most reliable option. Other roads could be closed, or there could be no bus, but getting to Alicante was almost always possible. Within Torrevieja itself, there are some buses, but they're only helpful if you need to get literally from one edge of the city to the other. If not, it's very walkable, you can get anywhere by foot. If you don't feel comfortable walking a lot, it still might be difficult, but there are unfortunately no buses to travel shorter distances. For me, Torrevieja was only good for so long, for 7 months to be precise. I needed this time to be with myself, to recover from a challenging life stage that came before, and to have as much time as possible living out of savings because I had no job and the job market is hard. As soon as I realized that my rental contract is about to expire, I cannot go back home to Ukraine because it's not getting any more safe. I knew that I have to move. I was thinking between going to a new country or moving to a new Spanish city. Different country was simply too much hassle, paperwork, legal issues. I also just started to work at the time, so financially I was still in the most challenging position I've had. So I decided to move to a bigger Spanish city. I started considering options. I already tried Sevilla before, it didn't work. I've been to Malaga, it didn't really click. I wanted to go to the north, but it was way too expensive. Madrid or Barcelona are also really expensive and don't feel very safe. So my easiest, closest and most logical option was moving to Alicante. I visited it before, I liked the place. It always had a very light, enjoyable, free-spirited vibe, so I was only happy to try living here. Now it's been over a year since I moved, and I'm really excited to give you my honest review of the city. Alicante is slightly more expensive than Torrevieja. Rent is 25 to 40% more expensive. However, living in Alicante is cheaper than in Valencia, let's say, and I'm enjoying life here just as much, if not more, than in bigger cities where I've lived before. Compared to Torrevieja, a big factor is that there's just more places to go. Coffee shops and restaurants are much more fancy, which is why they're more expensive. There's more events that you can go to and spend money. There's multiple shopping malls instead of one like in Torrevieja. There's also more hobbies to pick up and communities to join, and that will inevitably make you spend more money. I call it investing in myself, because while it gets more expensive, the quality of life also rises. So in my opinion, all the costs are worth it. I have a video where I break down how much I spend living in Alicante, so you can check it out if you're curious. Generally, I can say that in Alicante I spent 60% more than I was spending in Torrevieja. But also, let's remember that when I lived in Torrevieja, I did not have a job, and I was stressed and saving everything I could. Now in Alicante, I have a full-time job. I just got promoted, and it's been over a year after my unemployment. So financially and emotionally, I feel better than I did at the time. Alicante is a mid-sized city that can easily feel like a big city. It's always active, it's very alive and full of people. Here you can have a very healthy lifestyle if that's what you want. Route by the Sea is an amazing place to go running or even go for long walks. Local gyms are really nice and there are many of them. There are various options of sports classes and communities. If you go to the seaside, at any time you will see people working out. Also, you will see fit people coming back from training all the time. And if you don't start working out yourself, you will think, what am I, worse than all of them? So this environment encourages you to do something better with your own life. At the same time, there's many options to go clubbing or to go out for drinks. If you're not a sports addict, you can basically build your lifestyle the way you want. The city is amazing for young people with any interests. And it's also great for families. It feels safe, especially not in the summer, because in the summer it does get very crowded and beaming with tourists. Alicante is located by the sea, as you may know, but it also has some mountains. There are amazing options for hiking around Alicante, where you can get to in 30 minutes if you have a car. To some spots you can easily get by tram. And there's even an amazing place inside of the city. It's called Santa Barbara Castle. It's very close to the center, and it's popular not only among tourists but also among people who live here. There's gorgeous viewpoints, there's a Santa Cruz area close. You can have a nice walk there and finish it with a beautiful viewpoint location. Personally, I have been there multiple times and I would love to go again and again. There's also a beautiful El Palmeral Park, which is a bit far from the center but possible to get to. And there's a beautiful Esplanada promenade in the city center, which you have definitely seen if you have consumed at least 5 seconds of content about Alicante before this video. I have moved to Alicante in May, which is 1 year ago, and now again in May I understand why I liked it so much from the start. This year it's a bit colder and more rainy, but the city is blooming with all kinds of flowers of different colors. It's also not too hot. The city looks beautiful, smells nice, and is not overflowing with people yet. In Alicante there's a train station and a bus station from where you can get pretty much anywhere in the country. There's a Alicante Elche airport very close. There is a good tram system with 3 lines, which connects not only places inside the city, but also goes further to the province. By tram you can even get as far as to Benidorm. The trams go on schedule, so it's not that difficult to plan around them. There are also buses within the city, which I honestly almost never used, because the city is walkable and I love walking, but I know that buses exist and people use them on a very regular basis. And there's also Uber service, so it's possible to get the taxi too. I don't remember if I mentioned this, but in Torrevieja there are no Ubers. You can call a taxi, but it has to be only the local service. If you have a car, as always, it's the best option, but you will need to have a parking space at the place where you live. There definitely is a parking problem and you cannot just leave your car anywhere around the city. In the next video I will go more into the housing situation, social life and things to do, climate, and who which city is good for. All of these points are equally important, so follow not to miss a new video, and see you back here next week.